From Larry Ellison, who owns 98% of an entire island, to Jeff Bezos with a $500 million property empire, America's billionaires aren't just living large, they control nearly half of the country's mansions. In this video, we're looking at the billionaires behind some of the most spectacular homes in America, starting with Larry Ellison. Let's start with the absolute titan of real estate collecting among billionaires. Larry Ellison, Oracle's co-founder with a net worth of $276 to $383 billion, owns an absolutely staggering over 24 US properties with a combined portfolio value of $1 to $2 billion. Let's break down this empire. Ellison owns 6 properties on Malibu's Billionaires Beach in California. Not 1, not 2, but 6 oceanfront mansions on one of the world's most exclusive stretches of coastline. He's got 4 properties in Woodside, California, including a $200 million Japanese-inspired remodel. There are 3 mansions in Newport, Rhode Island, because apparently even billionaires need summer homes where America's Gilded Age elite once vacationed. His $173 million Palm Beach, Florida property was a record breaker when purchased. But the crown jewel, Ellison owns 98% of Lanai Island in Hawaii, 90,000 acres purchased for $300 million. This isn't buying a property on an island. This is buying the entire island. Lanai was once known primarily for pineapple plantations, but Ellison has transformed it into his personal domain, complete with luxury resorts that he also owns. Larry Ellison's approach to real estate isn't about having homes, it's about collecting trophy properties like art. Each acquisition is a statement, a flex of financial muscle that few on earth can match. The Malibu Beach portfolio alone would satisfy most billionaires for a lifetime, but Ellison keeps adding to his collection. What's particularly interesting is how Ellison's properties cluster, multiple in the same desirable locations, rather than spreading thin across the globe. When he likes a place, he doesn't just buy one property, he accumulates a portfolio in that area. It's real estate collecting as a competitive sport, and Ellison is playing to win. This level of property ownership raises fascinating questions about use. How does one person actually utilize 24+ properties? The answer, of course, is that they don't need to. These are investments, status symbols, and appreciating assets all rolled into one, unused. Mansions require full-time staff, including property managers and gardeners, costing millions annually. But when you're worth over $250 billion, such expenses are barely noticeable. Larry Ellison represents the absolute pinnacle of billionaire real estate collecting, a level so extreme that even other billionaires might consider it excessive. His portfolio alone could house a small town, and its value exceeds the GDP of some nations. But even with Ellison's staggering collection of 24 properties, there's another billionaire who's assembled an impressive portfolio across America's most powerful cities: Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg, media mogul, former New York City mayor, and presidential candidate with a net worth of $85 billion, owns an estimated 10 properties that reflect his East Coast power base and personal interests. Bloomberg's collection includes 5 New York City homes, featuring an expanded Upper East Side townhouse that's become his primary residence, because when you're worth $85 billion and you were the mayor, you don't just have one Manhattan property. There's the Ballyshire Estate in Southampton, New York, a Hamptons compound for summer escapes. He owns a Vail, Colorado condo for skiing, and a Wellington, Florida equestrian estate for his daughter's horseback riding pursuits. Bloomberg also owns a $45 million Colorado ranch, because apparently one Colorado property wasn't enough. What's remarkable about Bloomberg's portfolio is how it reflects his life's various chapters: the New York media and political empire, the Hamptons social scene, the equestrian interests, and the outdoor recreation properties. Each property serves a specific purpose in the complex ecosystem of his life. With 10 properties, Bloomberg represents what happens when a billionaire decides to maintain active presence in multiple spheres simultaneously. Business, politics, society, family, and recreation all require different geographic bases. But while Bloomberg's 10 properties span the East Coast and mountain regions, our next billionaire has taken a different approach, building an empire that includes some of the most expensive individual purchases in real estate history. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, Amazon's founder and one of the world's richest people with a net worth of $229 to $246 billion, has built a real estate empire of 7 to 9 properties valued at approximately $500 million. His strategy: combines record-breaking purchases with strategic geographic positioning. Bezos purchased 3 properties on Indian Creek Island in Miami, Florida, the Billionaire Bunker, for a combined $177 million. Indian Creek is an ultra-exclusive island with only about 40 homes, private security, and neighbors like Tom Brady and Ivanka Trump. Rumors suggest he's combining all 3 into one mega compound, but that's just the beginning. Bezos owns the $165 million Warner Estate in Beverly Hills, California, one of the highest-priced residential sales in Los Angeles history. There's a $78 million Maui estate in Hawaii, a Lake Washington home in Seattle near Amazon's headquarters, his former textile museum in Washington, D.C., now converted to a residence, and Manhattan apartments counted as 2 properties. What's fascinating about Bezos' real estate strategy is the timing. Many of these massive purchases came after his divorce from Mackenzie Scott, as if he was rebuilding his personal real estate empire from scratch. The focus on Miami represents the broader billionaire migration to Florida for tax purposes, while the other properties maintain strategic presence in tech, media, and power centers. But even Bezos' 9 properties and $500 million portfolio isn't the only tech founder building a massive real estate empire. Our next billionaire has taken privacy and security to an entirely new level through strategic property acquisition. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook's co-founder and CEO of Meta, has a net worth ranging from $246 to $264 billion, depending on Meta's stock performance. His real estate portfolio of 7 to 9 properties represents a methodical approach to building privacy and security through property acquisition. Zuckerberg's strategy in Palo Alto is particularly telling. He owns a 5-property compound, meaning he bought not just his own mansion, but also the 4 neighboring homes surrounding it. Why? Privacy and security. When you're one of the most recognizable faces in technology, you can't just live in a neighborhood, you need to control the neighborhood. He's replicated this approach with 2 side-by-side properties at Lake Tahoe on the California-Nevada border. But the real jaw-dropper is Hawaii. Zuckerberg owns over 1,400 acres on Kauai, including $270 million in parcels for the Kulau Ranch mega compound, which includes 2 57,000-square-foot mansions. This isn't just buying a vacation. Home? This is creating a private kingdom on one of Hawaii's most beautiful islands. Zuckerberg's approach has sparked controversy, particularly in Hawaii, where local residents have sometimes felt his land purchases disrupt communities and limit beach access. But from his perspective, he's creating secure private compounds where he can live without constant public scrutiny. The scale of Zuckerberg's Hawaii holdings in particular shows how modern tech billionaires think differently about real estate than previous generations. They're not just buying homes, they're buying geography itself. Still, as expansive as Zuckerberg's 7 to 9 properties are, another tech pioneer has assembled a diverse collection that spans multiple continents and includes some uniquely ambitious holdings. Michael Dell. Michael Dell, founder of Dell Technologies and a man with a net worth of $127 billion, has assembled a formidable real estate portfolio of 5+ properties that spans from the American heartland to tropical paradises and major urban centers. Dell's holdings include an Austin, Texas ranch mansion, fitting for someone who built his tech empire in Austin rather than Silicon Valley, making him a pioneer of tech decentralization. He owns a New York City penthouse valued at over $100 million, placing him among Manhattan's ultra-elite. There's a Hawaii estate for tropical escapes, a Boston, Massachusetts penthouse, and California properties rounding out his collection. What's remarkable about Michael Dell is how his real estate strategy mirrors his business philosophy: diversified, strategically positioned, and not confined to the traditional tech corridors. By building Dell in Austin rather than Silicon Valley, he proved that tech success didn't require a Bay Area address. His real estate portfolio shows the same independent thinking. The combination of properties in tech hubs, financial centers, vacation destinations, and his Texas home base creates a network that serves both business and personal needs. Dell represents the billionaire who's thought carefully about where he wants to maintain presence and influence. But if 5 properties strategically placed across the country seems substantial, our next billionaire has created one of the most famous tech residences in America, along with several other strategic holdings. Bill Gates. Bill Gates, the Microsoft co-founder, whose name is synonymous with both tech innovation and global philanthropy, commands a net worth of $157 billion. His real estate empire of 4 to 6 properties includes one of the most famous billionaire homes in America. The crown jewel is Xanadu 2.0, his Medina, Washington mega mansion spanning 66,000 square feet. This isn't just a house, it's a technological marvel featuring a 20-car garage, a ballroom for entertaining, a 60-foot swimming pool, and innovations like a high-tech sensor system that adjusts temperature and lighting as you move through the rooms. The name itself is a reference to Citizen Kane's fictional estate, and Xanadu 2.0 has become almost as legendary. But Gates hasn't stopped there. He owns properties in Wellington, Florida, an equestrian estate, reflecting his daughter's passion for competitive horseback riding. He's got places in Del Mar, California, and Indian Wells, California, giving him multiple California options beyond just Silicon Valley. And of course, there's a New York City apartment because even tech billionaires need a Manhattan pied-à-terre. What separates Bill Gates from many other billionaires is how his primary residence has become part of tech law. People genuinely curious about innovation want to see Xanadu 2.0. It represents not just wealth but a vision of how technology can be integrated into daily living. But as impressive as Gates' portfolio is, there are other billionaires who've assembled collections that reflect different priorities and lifestyles. Our next heir to a massive fortune has built a portfolio across America's most prestigious social destinations, Julia Koch. Julia Koch inherited one of America's great fortunes following the death of her husband David Koch in 2019, and she now commands a net worth of $90 billion. With this wealth comes a property portfolio of 4+ mansions strategically positioned across America's most exclusive enclaves. Julia's collection includes properties in Palm Beach, Florida, the Gold Coast's crown jewel, where billionaires have flocked in recent years to escape state income taxes. She maintains a presence in Southampton, New York, one of the Hamptons' most prestigious villages where old money and new money converge each summer. Her Aspen, Colorado home places her among the ski elite, and her New York City townhouse keeps her anchored in Manhattan's Upper East Side society. What's remarkable about Julia Koch's portfolio is how it provides access to 4 distinct American luxury ecosystems: the tropical paradise and tax, haven of Palm Beach, the summer social scene of the Hamptons, the mountain exclusivity of Aspen, and the cultural capital of Manhattan. Each property serves a specific seasonal and social purpose, creating a year-round circuit of luxury living. This kind of multi-property strategy among the ultra-wealthy isn't just about having places to stay, it's about maintaining presence and influence in multiple spheres of power and society. Julia Koch's real estate holdings ensure she's never far from wherever the action is among America's elite. But impressive as 4 properties across the country might be, there's another member of the Koch family whose holdings, while more modest in number, still reflect the family's preference for strategic, high-quality locations. Charles Koch, Julia's brother-in-law and the surviving Koch brother who built the family's industrial empire, sits on a net worth of $80 billion. His real estate portfolio of 3+ properties might seem modest by comparison to some, but the locations speak volumes about his lifestyle preferences. Charles owns properties in Palm Springs, California, a desert oasis that's been attracting the wealthy since Hollywood's golden age. He maintains his base in Wichita, Kansas, where Koch Industries is headquartered, staying close to the business empire he's spent decades building and expanding. And like his sister-in-law and many other billionaires, he's got a place in Aspen, Colorado, because when you have this kind of wealth, you simply must have access to world-class skiing. What's interesting about Charles Koch is how his relatively restrained property portfolio, just 3 primary locations, reflects someone who's more focused on business operations and political influence than on accumulating trophy homes. He's famously private, preferring to wield influence through his political network and business dealings rather than through splashy real estate purchases. The Koch family's approach to real estate generally seems to be quality over quantity, strategically chosen locations that serve both business and personal interests, and a preference for privacy over publicity. But the Koch family isn't the only dynasty with restrained real estate holdings. Another famous American family, the Waltons, has taken a similarly measured approach, though spread across different members. Alice Walton. Alice Walton, the only daughter of Sam Walton and the wealthiest woman in America, with a net worth of $99 billion, has carved out her own distinctive path in the real estate world. She owns an estimated 3+ properties that reflect both her family heritage and her personal passions. Her most significant holding is the Mineral Wells, Texas ranch, a sprawling property that embodies the American West. But Alice hasn't confined herself to ranch life. She also maintains a New York City apartment, giving her a foothold in one of the world's cultural capitals, and of course a presence in Bentonville, Arkansas, where she founded the Crystal Bridges Museum. What sets Alice apart from her brothers isn't just her real estate portfolio, but her impact on the cultural landscape. She's poured enormous resources into art collection and museum development, transforming Bentonville from a retail headquarters town into an unexpected art destination. Her properties serve as bases for these various interests: the ranch for privacy and retreat, New York for access to the art world, and Bentonville for her philanthropic crown jewel. Alice represents a fascinating case study in how billionaire women approach real estate differently than their male counterparts, often with more emphasis on cultural engagement and community impact rather than pure accumulation. Speaking of the Walton family, Alice's brother has also assembled a modest but strategic collection of properties that reflect a slightly different set of priorities. Rob Walton. Meet Rob Walton, Alice's older brother and another Walmart heir with a net worth of $98 billion. Rob owns an estimated 2+ properties, but his choices reflect someone who's ventured slightly beyond the Arkansas compound. Rob's most notable property is his mansion in Aspen, Colorado, one of America's most exclusive mountain resort towns, where billionaires rub shoulders on the ski slopes and at high-end restaurants. Aspen has long been a magnet for the ultra-wealthy, offering not just world-class skiing, but also a sophisticated cultural scene with music festivals, art galleries, and gourmet dining. Of course, Rob hasn't abandoned his roots entirely. He still maintains a presence in Bentonville, Arkansas, staying connected to the family business and the community that Sam Walton built Walmart upon. What Rob Walton's real estate choices tell us is that even within the same family, different personalities emerge. While some Waltons stay closer to home, Rob has allowed himself to branch out to one of the country's premier luxury destinations. It's a modest collection compared to some, but in Aspen you don't need quantity. The quality and location speak for themselves. Speaking of family members with similar holdings, there's another Walton sibling whose real estate strategy mirrors Rob's restrained approach: Jim Walton. Now let's meet Jim Walton, the youngest son of Sam Walton, with a net worth of $100 billion. Jim Walton owns an estimated 2+ US properties, and like many in the Walmart family, he tends to keep a relatively low profile. His primary residence is part of the family compound in Bentonville, Arkansas, the heartland of America and the birthplace of Walmart. Bentonville isn't just home to the Waltons. It's become a surprisingly cultural and sophisticated city thanks to the family's investments, including the world-renowned Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Beyond Arkansas, Jim also maintains other holdings in Arkansas and Texas, states that align with the Walmart family's roots and business operations. The Walmart family is often notably low profile when it comes to their personal lives, preferring to let their business empire and philanthropic efforts speak for themselves. What's fascinating about the Walton family is how they've managed to maintain such enormous wealth. Jim, along with his siblings, regularly trades positions among the world's richest people, while avoiding the spotlight that often follows billionaires. They're not buying headline-making properties in Miami or Malibu. They're staying true to their Middle American roots. But not all tech billionaires take the restrained approach of the Waltons. Some prefer to keep their holdings closer to the innovation hubs that made them wealthy. Larry Page. Larry Page, co-founder of Google, sits on a net worth of $155 billion, one of the original internet billionaires who helped organize the world's information. Page owns 4+ properties, giving him strategic presence across multiple locations. Page's primary residence is in Palo Alto, California, the heart of Silicon Valley, home to Stanford University, and ground zero for tech innovation. He owns multiple Silicon Valley homes, likely including properties for various family members, and possibly for key employees or guests. And here's where it gets interesting. Page also owns islands, though his US focus remains on California properties. That island ownership detail is intriguing because it shows how billionaires at this level start thinking beyond traditional real estate. Why buy a mansion when you can buy an entire island? But despite these exotic holdings, Page has kept his primary focus on Silicon Valley, the ecosystem that made his fortune possible. Larry Page has been notably reclusive in recent years, and his real estate strategy reflects this. Properties that offer privacy, security, and proximity to the tech world he helped create, without the flashiness of some other billionaires' portfolios. Speaking of Google co-founders with similar but distinct approaches to real estate, Page's partner has assembled his own collection of Silicon Valley properties. Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google and Larry Page's partner in creating the world's most powerful search engine, commands a net worth of $146 billion. His real estate portfolio of 3+ properties reflects someone who's ventured slightly beyond Silicon Valley's borders while maintaining his home base. Brin's crown jewel is his Los Altos Hills, California mansion, an even more exclusive enclave than Los Altos, where properties sit on larger lots with more privacy and often more spectacular views. Los Altos Hills is where tech billionaires go when they want the ultimate Silicon Valley address. Beyond California, Sergey maintains a New York City penthouse, giving him access to the East Coast's financial and cultural capital, plus other California holdings that likely include investments or family properties. What's fascinating about Sergey Brin is how he represents that first generation of internet billionaires who've now had 2 decades to mature into their wealth. Unlike the mansion-collecting frenzy of some billionaires, Brin's approach seems measured, a few carefully chosen properties in locations that actually matter to his life and work. Google's co-founders have taken slightly different approaches to their wealth and real estate, showing how even partners in the same venture can have distinct personal philosophies about property ownership. But beyond the Google founders, there are other tech executives whose real estate holdings reflect their positions at the forefront of different technological revolutions. Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer, Microsoft's former CEO and current owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, brings his trademark intensity to everything, including his net worth of $143 billion and his real estate portfolio of 3 to 4 properties. Ballmer's flagship property is his Hunts Point, Washington mansion, one of the Seattle area's most exclusive addresses, a peninsula jutting into Lake Washington where tech billionaires have created their own private enclave. He also maintains properties in Los Angeles connected to his ownership of the Clippers basketball team, because when you own an NBA franchise, you need to be close to the action. Additionally, he has a retreat on Whidbey Island, Washington, a gorgeous island in Puget Sound that offers escape without being too far from Seattle. What's interesting about Steve Ballmer is how his real estate reflects his 2 major life focuses, his Microsoft legacy in Washington state and his NBA team in Los Angeles. Unlike some billionaires who collect properties almost randomly, Ballmer's holdings tell a clear story about his professional and personal interests. His Hunts Point mansion also places him in the same neighborhood as Bill Gates, his former boss and longtime friend, though their relationship has reportedly had its complexities. These properties aren't just homes, they're power bases in the tech world's Pacific Northwest headquarters. While some billionaires spread their holdings across traditional luxury markets, others have focused on emerging tech hubs and newer sources of wealth. Jensen Huang. Jensen Huang, the visionary CEO of NVIDIA, who rode the AI revolution to a net worth of $135 billion, represents the new generation of tech billionaires reshaping America's wealth landscape. His real estate portfolio of 2+ properties might seem modest, but these are Silicon Valley properties where land is worth its weight in gold. Huang's primary residence is in Los Altos, California, one of Silicon Valley's most prestigious communities, nestled in the foothills of the Santa Cruz Mountains. Los Altos is where tech elite prefer to live, close enough to their companies but removed enough to feel like a real neighborhood rather than a corporate campus extension. He also maintains other Silicon Valley homes, likely for family members or as investments in one of the world's most expensive real estate markets. What makes Jensen Huang's story particularly compelling is the timing. As AI has exploded and NVIDIA's chips have become the pickaxes in the AI gold rush, his wealth has skyrocketed faster than almost anyone else's in recent years. Yet his real estate holdings remain relatively grounded in Silicon Valley, focused on the ecosystem that created his fortune rather than spreading out to Miami, Aspen, or the Hamptons, like many of his peers. This represents a pattern we see among the newer tech billionaires. They're often more rooted in their tech hubs, at least initially, before they start diversifying their geographic holdings as their wealth matures. And speaking of individuals who've stayed relatively grounded despite enormous success, our final billionaire represents the Nike empire with a modest but strategic collection of properties. Phil Knight. Let's close with Phil Knight, the co-founder of Nike and a man with a net worth of $101 billion. Unlike some billionaires who've gone wild with property acquisition, Phil Knight has allowed himself a few strategic indulgences when it comes to real estate, though he's still relatively restrained compared to others on this list. Knight owns an estimated 2 to 3 US mansions. His primary residence is located in Hillsboro, Oregon, keeping him connected to his Pacific Northwest roots where Nike was born. But Phil didn't stop there. He also owns a golf estate in La Quinta, California, a desert paradise where he can escape the Oregon rain and enjoy world-class golfing under the California sun. What's interesting about Phil Knight's approach to real estate is that it reflects his personality. Successful, but not flashy. Wealthy, but not wasteful. He's not buying properties to make headlines or to compete in some billionaire real estate arms race. These are homes he actually uses, places that serve a purpose in his life. The La Quinta property is particularly noteworthy because it sits in one of California's premier golf destinations, an area where many affluent individuals own vacation homes. For someone who's spent decades building a global empire from running shoes, having a peaceful retreat where he can unwind makes perfect sense. Phil Knight represents a refreshing counterpoint to the mansion-collecting frenzy we've seen throughout this list. Proof that even at the highest levels of wealth, some billionaires still maintain a sense of proportion and purpose in their real estate choices. If you enjoyed this video, please click on any of the cards on your screen.